I'm Rick Yount. I'm the founder and executive director of Warrior Canine Connection. This is my buddy Cooper. Welcome to our new series called Warrior Canine Connection Unleashed. We have some great dogs and wonderful trainers here at WCC, and we're happy to be able to share some of our training tips that you can use at home with your dogs to hopefully build a better relationship with your furry battle buddy.
You know, we humans have a very long history with dogs. You could say we co-evolved with each other. Historians think that dogs and humans go back as far as 20 to 40,000 years. Think about it. Our relationship with these guys is older than acupuncture. Along with that ancient history, some of the earliest examples of dogs connecting with warriors goes back to about 3,000 years ago. One of my favorite stories of that connection happened during our War for Independence, when General George Washington found a dog on a battlefield. The dog actually belonged to his enemy, General Howe, from the British Army. General Washington, showing an amazing sign of humanity, actually stopped the battle and had the dog returned to General Howe. Imagine stopping a battle to return the dog to your enemy. That's how powerful this connection is and the influence that these guys have on us.
So let's get started. First thing to note is that, like kids, no two dogs are alike. What works to train one dog, like Cooper here, may not work for another dog. So let's talk about your dog and what training approach might work best for you. How assertive is your dog? Your level of assertiveness in your training approach matters a lot in relationship to your dogs. One quick way is to pay attention to their tail. Watch their dog whenever they're not excited and they're not focused on something. Usually the higher their tail is compared to their body determines how assertive they are. If your dog's tail is sticking straight up, you have a very assertive dog. If your dog's tail is hanging down between their legs, and your dog's not very assertive. This is important information as you're refining your approach and getting the most out of your dog in your training. Right? Another important aspect of your dog's personality, or dogality in this case, is looking at your dog's tail. How wide does it wag? That really reflects how socially responsive they are. This is important information in your training to know what really motivates them. I heard someone say one time that the greatest learning disability is a lack of interest. Now, of course, Cooper has heard this many times. But when you're training your dog, make the session short and interesting for both you and your dog. You'll find a lot more success if you don't train too long. Exploring what motivates your dog will be an important part of the training puzzle. Some dogs work for food, some dogs work for toys, some dogs work for praise. It's our job to find out what motivates our dogs, and once we know that, it makes the training go a lot smoother. Our goal is to make training fun for both you and your dog. A sense of success for both of you is what we're trying to achieve. Now, please let me introduce you to one of our wonderful trainers, Jennifer Blessing. Jen is a service dog training instructor here at WCC who has a wonderful way with both dogs and humans. Jen, before we get started, I want to address something that I've heard for years.
What's that, Rick?
Well, I've heard a lot of people say that dogs are non-judgmental beings.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Well, if that were true, why do most dogs try to treat their trainers like they're substitute teachers in junior high school? I mean, think about it. They act like they never heard their name, they don't know what the word sit means, and that they're deaf. Aren't dogs able to hear much better than humans?
Yeah, dogs can actually hear sounds that are 4 times farther away than what humans can actually hear. They can also hear higher frequencies than we can, so I'm not sure that that's it.
Well, I'm very happy that we have you, Jen, to help shed some light on how we can get past the substitute teacher phase and get in some really effective training with our dogs.
Now, please allow me to introduce you to Warrior Canine Connection scientific advisor, Meg Daly-Ulmer, so she can share some insights on the biology of the human-dog bond.
Hello, I'm Meg Ulmer, and I'm the science advisor for Warrior Canine Connection. For the past 20 years, I've studied the biology of the human-animal bond, and in 2010, I joined Warrior Canine Connection to study the biology and to investigate why the Warrior Canine Connection Service Dog Training Program was so effective at reducing the symptoms of PTSD and improving the social lives of its participants. Central to understanding what might be causing this effect was an understanding of research that had shown that friendly, nurturing relationships with dogs could produce a powerful anti-stress effect, that talking to dogs, walking dogs, stroking dogs could lower heart rate and blood pressure and reduce stress chemistry in humans. A later finding that those same sorts of nurturing social activities with dogs could release a brain chemical called oxytocin in both humans and dogs gave us even greater insight into just what might be going on here. Oxytocin sits at the center of a powerful social brain network that's present in all social mammals. Understanding that oxytocin can be released through friendly, loving, even eye contact with dogs gave us a great idea as to why it was that the Warrior Canine Connection program might be producing these anti-stress and pro-social effects in those who participated in our service dog training program. Research at Walter Reed recently confirmed that the Warrior Canine Connection program there is effective at reducing the symptoms of PTSD. And it may be very well that training service dogs is highly effective at reaching into the social brain network of humans because it mimics parental behavior, which is one of the main things that oxytocin evolved to support and reward. These same therapeutic effects are waiting for all of us in our pet dogs. So how do we go about building the kinds of relationships with our dogs that are both emotionally and therapeutically rewarding? It's very basic. Let's start with petting your dog. As we saw, petting your dog will release oxytocin in both human and the dog. So there's your anti-stress effect there. Brushing the dog. Brushing your dog is a basic grooming behavior that is essential to all parental behavior. It's a powerful way to release oxytocin in humans and dogs. Plus, every hair that ends up in the brush is a hair that isn't on your clothing, which is an evolutionary win-win. Talking to your dog. You'll find that when you talk to your dog, you lapse into a high-pitched, melodic, kind of baby talk. This is because our dogs are like our babies. It's all running on the same oxytocin brain network, and it becomes an instinctive way to speak to our dogs, and it releases oxytocin in both humans and dogs. Walk your dog. Walk your dog with purpose. Leave the earbuds at home. It's when you're out in the world and you're looking at the dog through the dog's point of view, trying to understand what it's smelling, that you are best able to understand the dog's point of view. And time spent focused is time outside your own head and your own spinning thoughts. That's the Zen waiting for you at the end of a leash. Return your dog's eye gaze. Look into your dog's eyes. Your dog is trying to get your attention. It's trying to tell you something. When you return the eye gaze, not only do you release oxytocin, you might get a clue about what they're trying to tell you. And that's the basis of any good friendship. Your dog is hilarious. Your dog, if you pay attention to it, is ready, willing, and able to provide comic relief to this stressed world that we live in. Lastly, if you dare, open your heart and really learn to love your dog. Learn how to be your dog's best friend. Your dog is waiting to be your best friend. And when you return that degree of commitment and love is when you will experience the full benefit, the full joy and gift that the human-dog bond has to offer. I hope that you recognize some of these things and you're already doing them. And if not, you'll take them on board. And happy dog to you.
Hi everyone, I'd like to quickly introduce myself. My name is Jen Blessing and I'm a service dog training instructor here at Warrior Canine Connection. As Rick just discussed, there are a lot of factors for us to consider when we look at the dog population as a whole. Breed characteristics will often hold true, but every dog is going to differ from the next, even if they share the same breed. Labrador and Golden Retrievers are specifically used here at WCC and in our video demonstrations. These retrievers have proven to us time and time again that they're going to get the job done and they will work for food. Warrior Canine Connection purposely breeds these retrievers to be front porch sitting country dogs. Excuse my horrible accent, but it's important. So with our mission in mind, we need these dogs to be content with laying in one place for hours on end. At the same time, we need a dog that is very people-oriented and driven to please. In other words, they gotta be motivated to get up. One way to encourage the motivation to work is by focusing on the human-animal bond. Brushing your dog daily will help communicate that they are cared for and that they're loved, and it will help their skin and fur feel a lot better. And it's just like with us, you love a good scalp massage, same feeling for them. Most people think of brushing for one sole purpose, which is to tackle shedding. Although it does that, it will also kickstart the oxytocin exchange that Meg discussed earlier. Our dogs seem to love the rubber brushes the most. I use this specific brush from head to tail, focusing on long, relaxing brush strokes. Because dogs mirror the energy that we are putting out, it's really important that we're leading by example. Practice getting your zen on. That leads me into our training method, how and why we train a particular way. We use a form of marker training to teach the dogs what we want from them. This style of training helps build a dog's confidence with each repetition and lead them to love learning. It shows them that people are trustworthy and worthy of their time. The gist of marker training is that an animal learns a specific noise to consistently equal a reward. Their marker noise is used the exact moment the dog does what you're asking for. It's all about timing. A popular marker in the dog training community is a clicker. Clickers are small handheld tools that some handlers prefer. The perk is that it is a consistent sound no matter who's holding it or using it. So, if you're clumsy like me, having one less thing to juggle in your hands matters. I drop 80% of the things that I have in my hands, so using my voice is a much easier option. Because dogs hear us talk all day long, it's important to use their voices in a distinct way. My voice marker needs to grab the dog's attention and feel exciting. Do y'all remember Richard Simmons from back in the day? That's how I want you to sound. So we use the word yes, said in a short, crisp, kind of Simmonsy way. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Once you've decided which marker works best for you, you need to treat load it. In other words, you need to do repetition after repetition of sound, treat, sound, treat. You'd be surprised how quickly your dog makes this association. After the association is formed, it is just as important to keep this association strong, meaning a reward is given every time the marker is used. You might be thinking, well, I don't want to give my dog a treat for everything he or she does. Don't worry, we work towards weaning off of treats and focus on a more praise-based reward once they've proven that they're ready for it. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of this next session. For now, let's focus on getting comfortable with the marker and treat coordination. Yes! Yes! Yes!
Yes! Good work. Yes! As he's thinking about getting up. Oh, that's good. Yes!
The first command we'll be going over is the most important command your dog needs to know, their name. I know that must seem overly simple, but hear me out. If you cannot gain or keep your dog's attention, all instruction given will be background noise to them. You can't possibly teach them something if they are uninterested or uninvolved. So let's set our criteria. We will expect our dogs to give us eye contact when we say their name. The eye contact should be relatively immediate and should hopefully last a few seconds at minimum. They will get better at this when they learn it's an easy game to win. It is really important for us to be mindful about how and when we use their name. If we have only used their name when they're in trouble, they won't want to engage with us. The same goes for if we're saying their name twice. Sounds silly, right? Just like humans, dogs can get annoyed with nagging. Let's work really hard on making them love their name by showing them that good things will follow once they hear it. JJ, yes! JJ, yes!
I've not worked with Collins before. I'm the executive director of Founder Collins. Doesn't mean really anything to you, does it? Okay, let's get started. Collins. Yes! Good. Look at that. That worked.
One thing you can practice between now and our next session is the voluntary check-in game. Things you'll need to do this: a stopwatch or timer, your dog, treats, and another person or paper and pen. The voluntary check-in game is all about the dog offering eye contact on their own terms. To measure how quickly they're catching on to this, we're going to set a timer for 2 minutes. You're going to start the timer and wait for your dog to offer eye contact. The second they offer eye contact, you're going to yes and treat, and then have the other person or yourself add a tally to your piece of paper. Tally every time they give you eye contact, and continue to do this until your timer runs out. Once the timer runs out, do this for a second round. You can then compare if your dog has improved from round 1 to round 2. Yes!
We hope you enjoyed our first of many training videos intended to strengthen your Warrior Canine connection. We would appreciate it if you would provide feedback below and let us know how we're doing, or share any suggestions you might have for upcoming videos.
If you need a puppy fix, go to warriorcanineconnection.org. Once you're there, scroll down and you'll see Puppy Cam. This will redirect you to the explore.org page. In our next session, you will learn the fundamentals of training a new behavior. We will also cover instructional tips that will help encourage responsiveness and cooperation from your dog. Sit, down, and spin will all be taught this lesson. See you next time.